I want to spend a few minutes talking about the little things and just how very much they really, really matter. When I lived on the road for 4 years without a home, one of the things that was really hard for me was I couldn't read. I mean, you can't exactly take out a library book when you're living in a van, and nor can you buy a copy of every book that you really want to read. And let's keep in mind, this was the end of the 1980s, so jumping up online and doing an ebook really wasn't an option for me either. Prior to living on the road, I was an avid reader and I would gobble down books all the time. But those 4 years were rough. We did stay at a lot of people's homes, and yes, because of the nature of the people we were staying with, many, many books were repeated, but there was no guarantee that a book I might have started in Cambridge, Massachusetts, would be available in Springfield, Missouri the next week when I was out there. Nor could I count on it being available anyplace else anytime soon, and you kind of lose continuity. So when I settled into living with some friends in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, one of the things I really, really looked forward to was being able to read. And I think it's interesting that the very first book that I read was Good Omens. It's a fabulous book if you haven't already read it, and that's what the quote is from on this page. Reading through that book, going back into the world of fantasy and fiction, was something I never believed I'd be able to do again, and it was glorious for me. But that wasn't one of the only little things that happened. Knowing that I could put the book down and pick it up whenever I wanted to and it wouldn't move really helped to build up my confidence. But it took a while. It took a long while before I could read with retention and true comprehension. But I want to talk about some of the other little things. If you've ever lived on the road for an extended period of time, then maybe you can relate to this. Waking up in the same zip code day after day after day was mind-blowing. It was fun, it was confusing, but it was really, really important. Knowing that I could put my toothbrush down in the bathroom and not worry about whether or not I packed it as I drifted off to sleep or the next morning looking for a suitcase to shove everything into, that was such a paradigm shift for me. Nothing felt the same. Everything felt fresh and new. And when I finally did move into my own space with my two children, I remember walking into this little townhouse. It was a duplex kind of thing, you know. The downstairs had the living room, a small powder room, a kitchen with washing machine and dryer stacked on top of each other, a little tiny room off to the side that was supposed to be a study that became my son's room. And upstairs, there were 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and the master bedroom had its own sink as well. I remember walking in and the agent saying how sorry they were that the rooms were so small. And I looked around and I thought, no, compared to living in a van, this is palatial. And being able to unpack and put clothing into my personal drawers and know that they would be there the next day, or not have to worry about a dog barking while I was recording, or, have to worry about somebody else coming and stealing the washing machine away from me, or did I lose my socks in Albuquerque when I finally got to LA and suddenly noticed I was missing them. All of those things disappeared. And that level of stress, that level of constantly worrying about whether or not things were going to work out, that all went away. Watching my children begin to make friends with other children inside of the little development that we lived in was amazing. And I'll never, ever forget the day I took them to register them at the local elementary school. We'd gotten there just about the same time that the school buses did as students were walking in. And my son, who was all of maybe not quite 7, looked at them, put his hands against his cheek and tilted his head and said, "Mommy, I'm going to be able to make real friends here." Real friends, the kind that you see day after day, not the ones that you see once every time we pass through your town. These were such little things that everyone takes for granted, but I can assure you, we did not. And we looked for the good in everything that we could find around us, because everything was good and new and fresh. Thanks for dropping by.